What's good? It's your boy Trouble T Roy. Don't get hit boxing talk, and back with another one. And it goes. Just want to speak on real quick the main event of the weekend, which was Drawn Boots Ennis versus Xander Zayas. Very good fight. I was very entertained. It reminded me of an old school fight. It really did. I'm happy with what I saw. I ain't gonna lie, I was pushing for Xander, but I wasn't mad with Boots taking the win. And the way he did, the way he kept coming the way that he did, as far as being in a tough situation in round, 3, 4 or so. He took a tough situation and he did what he needed to do to adjust, and he made Xander stop. Dropped Xander 3 times. And it was a good fight. Xander, he did what he could. He's young, he's 23. A lot of people are upset about the stoppage. They think that Xander quit, which you could say he did, but no matter how you look at it, it still was a great fight. If you want to say that he stopped, that's cool. I thought it was a good stoppage, or he quit, I should say. That's cool. I didn't think it was a bad, quidditch, if that's a word, because I don't believe that Xander had enough to come back and, make Boots pay for anything. I think Xander was pretty much done after that 6th round, I want to say. I believe he was stopped at the 7th. So I'm not mad that if he quit, then he quit. That's part of boxing. Most people sitting here, you a professional, you're supposed to keep on going until, no, this dude 23, he got a whole career ahead of him. Unlike Boots, who's, I believe he's 30, who has a lot of big decisions he has to make before retirement comes. Xander has a long time to go. As long as he stays healthy and stays hungry, Xander's going to be fine. I know he could probably stay at 154 and become a champion again. I know Boots has talked about going up. Xander's talked about going up. He actually, I believe, if I'm correct, he said he was thinking about going up before this fight happened. Xander was already talking about going up to 160, if I'm correct. And Boots has talked about he would like to go up to 160 eventually, so they might meet at 160 again. It could be a different story, which I believe Xander could continue to improve, which is not, he's already he was already a 2-belt champion. And I seen the flaws with him. One thing that he was doing against Boots, which didn't make sense because I've seen him move more against his last 2 opponents, against every opponent. Xander because I ain't gonna take it away that all of a sudden he don't use his feet, but he had pretty good footwork to move around, and keep distance. The problem with Xander this fight was he wanted to bang it out with Boots. It didn't make sense to me. Why are you trying to fight in the pocket when you have 2 legs? You have 2 legs that can move. Because Boots finds his best work in the pocket. And that's been shown for 31 fights now? 32? That's been shown in every successful fight that Boots has had, that he's best in the pocket. So it didn't make sense why Xander and his team, I don't know if this was what they worked on in camp, or this is just something Xander. It could have been like an ego thing. Like, I ain't gonna let you just beat me up, and you think you just gonna come in here and do what you want to me. I'm gonna show you what I can do to you, type shit. I think Xander may have had just kind of an ego thing in there, and he realized that he did have successful moments. He did, because we seen Boots actually hurt for what seems like actually hurt for the first time. But Boots held his own, which is what I was impressed with Boots. He held his own. He took something. I mean, this is at 154. This ain't 147. Xander isn't the hardest puncher at 154. Never was. But he's bigger than the opponents that Boots have fought naturally. And he's younger, which means, you know, the power the power ain't all the way there, which is another which I believe could be another, you know, good thing for Xander, because Xander might not even be at his grown man power yet, which would say something, especially if he goes up to 160, because he's been at 154 so far since, I believe, in his whole career so far. At least when I found out about him, he was at 154 coming up, or coming, you know, making his name. So 160 might be the best way for him to go, where his power, I believe his power can come up, and like I said, the grown man power might settle in the next couple years, to where Xander's skills, along with some more power, he could be unstoppable. I believe he will be, like I said, I believe he will be a champion again at 160, 168 for sure. I'm not sure if he's big enough for 170, but I'll have to see how he does at 168 if he goes that far up. But like I say, he's only 23 and he has a lot of time and a lot of options. Whereas in, like I said, Boots, his power definitely went up to 154 with him, which is good. And he showed he could bang, you know what I'm saying? Even in situations that aren't going his way. Cause I was scared for Xander most of the fight, but when Xander started connecting with Boots, I was like, oh shit, Boots might be out of here pretty soon. But the only problem with me for Xander is that his game plan wasn't solid enough. I still feel like it was a 50-50 fight, but Xander showed that he still has a lot of growing to do, I should say, my bad. He has a lot of growing to do, and that's fine. For a 23-year-old, that's fine. Now, if he was 33, then I'd just be like, oh, this is it. More likely, this is it. You know, but he's 23, and he has a long way to go at this point. So, yeah, man, I was impressed. I was impressed by both of them. They both showed their heart. They showed their skill. They showed their passion to win. And Xander just fell short. Like I said, he quit. We could say he quit, but it's not a negative thing, because Xander, he chose something that worked for him. I believe it was a team effort, because I saw when he looked at his corner, I don't know if Xander necessarily wanted to quit, but I feel like when he looked at his corner, I don't know. I wish I could get footage of his corner when he was on the knee to see, did they tell him like, hey, that's enough. That's fine. You proved what you could. We could go ahead and improve, live another day. And, you know, we just move on to the next fight. I mean, who knows? From what I keep seeing, the only sources, I think the Ring said it on Twitter, that supposedly Xander has 20, I would say, I guess now, because it's the next day, 20 days to basically put in for his rematch clause, which I don't think is necessary. I feel like grow and become better and see him at 160 in the next year and a half or something. You know, get a championship there and go see Boots at 160. Give yourself a time to grow. Give yourself time to get that grown man power. You know, because I feel like I'm sorry, I would say it, but and this is how I feel. If Crawford would have hit him with those same punches, Crawford would have made sure that he can't come back. You know, that's just me. Yes, I'm a Crawford fan, but I'm looking at just realistically. You know, we could talk about Crawford, and because I know that's what everybody brings up after this fight, before this fight, and after. You know, there was a reason that Boots stayed away from Crawford. Even though everybody wanted to say that Crawford stayed away from Boots, Boots had 2 chances to fight Crawford, and both of those chances he avoided. You know, I'm just going to say that. Argue with me if you want. I'm not even here to argue. I'm going to tell you, because I have the sources are out there. You can look it up and see what happened. Why those fights didn't happen, and that had nothing to do with Crawford not winning the fight. So we leave that there. But no, outside of that, great fight, great old school style of fighting, which is what we've been asking for a while now. 2 niggas that want to just go ahead and beat each other's ass till one of them go down. You know, till one of them says, that's it, I'm done. Or one of them really gets knocked out cold. I mean, it is what it is. Whatever it is, it's part of the game. But what Xander did, what people say he quit, good. I'm glad he quit. Because that means I get to see him. He's still in good health. He gonna go ahead and continue on with his career in good health. I think the move was smart. Okay, he has a O, or he lost his O. Who cares? All the greatest in the world, all the greatest that we look up to and talk about all the time, lost their O. But we still talk about them like they're still the top guys ever to fight. So what's so different about this era? That's what doesn't make sense. Once again, I always bring up this American boxing, these American boxing fans, the whole shit. All of a sudden, it's important to have a O. It's more important to have a O in America than it is to have a world championship to a lot of these fans. We've seen some of the greatest go down and get right back up. So what's so different with this era? Why can't they have a loss and learn from it and become better? Because most of these motherfuckers, like, you got the Haneys, the Shakurs, the Teals, they didn't learn from the Haneys and Shakurs, they fight the way they fight to make sure they keep an O. They don't do it to entertain us. Boxing is supposed to be about entertaining. And Teal, I'm sorry, he was never that good to me, so his O being lost was not a big deal. Ryan Garcia losing his O was not a big deal because I never thought he was great. Still to this day. You got Rolly Romero, he got O's, or he lost his O's, and I mean, nobody really cared because they know somebody's going to beat his ass anyways, and he's probably going to, you know. But the whole protecting the O thing has become a thing in America, and it's pretty sad, and I want to see it gone. And I feel like Xander said to himself at that moment, and his corner probably told him at the same time, look, you're young, you're going to keep developing, we're going to keep making sure you develop. You could probably have this rematch if you want it right away, or you could wait till later on. If Boots is still trying to get if he still is acceptive of running it back, then so be it. Run it back at 160. If not, you have other options. It don't make sense for you to kill yourself so young over a sport. You got family, you got friends, you got everything else. So yeah, so all y'all talking the crazy shit about, oh, he quit. Yeah, okay, what the fuck ever. Who cares? You know, he took the chance. against the guy that are trying to call, well, he might, people are probably calling this now, against the guy that's the supposed face of boxing now. That's what people are calling him. I still don't see that, but I see that he's a top guy for sure. You know, I could put him on my pound for pound list right as of now. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Great boxing is great boxing at the end of the day. If you're not a boxing fan, you're going to complain about this shit. Us real boxing fans are actually celebrating this shit. We're happy the fight went the way it did. Because we saw two men in the ring give what they could. What more do you want to ask for? And they were actually trying to beat the shit out of each other. What more can you fucking ask for in a sport where you're supposed to beat the fuck out of the other guy and not let him beat the fuck out of you? What more can you ask for? We saw these two going at it until it was just no more left. So that's my whole thing. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and close it right there. You know? Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good shit. It's your boy Trouble T Roy. Hit Don't Get Hit Boxing Talk. Yeah, I'll hit y'all with another one soon. All right, y'all. Peace.